Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. I am getting over a little bit of a sickness, so sorry if you still hear that in my voice, but this is a video topic I've been wanting to discuss and talk with you guys about for a really long time, and I was finally feeling a bit better today and I wanted to have a video out for this week. But this is an idea that I've been sitting on for a while, and the first time I sat down and filmed this like weeks ago, I was just rambling. I was making word salad, not making any sense. So I did script it out a little bit and like make bullet points at least, so I'm not rambling so much. But before we start, if you like these more video essay kind of videos, go ahead and like them down below. It really lets me know that you're enjoying them. You guys seem to enjoy them, even if it seems like there's no point or I'm rambling for an hour on end. At least maybe it makes you think a little bit more. So today we're going to be talking all about convenience culture. Now, I don't think convenience culture exists in a silo. I do believe it is also hand in hand with the rise of consumerism more in the 1950s, with marketing and products being sold instead of from business to business, business to consumer. It's this idea that modern living is meant to be easy. It's that these products are going to take hours away from your daily chore list and give it back to you to do something that you enjoy. Now we're seeing that groceries can be delivered to your door. You can drive through to pick up food. You don't have to sit in the restaurant and actually eat it. How convenient. You can even drive through a car wash if you don't want to wash it yourself. You can have a home cleaning subscription service and have people come to your home and clean it for you. Think of your microwave, how that gives you so many hours of your life back because you're not heating things up on the stove anymore. It's things like this that are part service, and I think the service part is maybe more like super modern day, and then part product, which is something that we've seen since the rise of consumerism and just our expectations for life and how it's meant to be easy, which we're gonna get into why I think that's an issue. Don't you worry. Of course, the rise of consumerism and convenience culture go hand in hand, but first and foremost, I want to talk about the price that we pay for convenience. Anything that makes your life easier or seem easier is always going to have a built-in sort of convenience fee. And that's something that you just look at and you're like, whatever. But genuinely, it's built into any sort of delivery service. If you think DoorDash or Uber Eats or Grubhub, anything of that nature is going to charge you an additional fee just for using the service. Even buying movie tickets online, they have an online convenience fee because you're buying them there rather than going to the box office and purchasing them there in person. And it's something crazy like $2 a ticket. Like, it's kind of a lot, but people pay it. Or even the price of a gadget or appliance like a washing and drying machine, those things are not cheap whatsoever. So you're not paying a fee for the service, but you are paying upfront a huge chunk of change just for the appliance itself because of the service that it continually provides. It's things like hair dryers and dishwashers that are meant to make your life easier and those tasks and chores quicker, but then of course you do have to pay that upfront cost for said appliance or gadget. I think in more modern times, what we're doing is paying service fees or convenience fees for things to be easier in our life. Even if you have like automatic investments in stocks, you're paying a service fee, which is essentially a convenience fee because you're paying someone else to do it for you or some AI program to do it for you, which is great because you don't have to dedicate so much of your time to it, but at the same time you have to build in that service fee or that convenience fee cost. Now, this isn't to say that if something is completely and utterly outside of your wheelhouse that you should not pay a professional because that's just convenient for you and that you should learn how to do it yourself and DIY. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying it's things that aren't really necessary for your day-to-day living that people feel entitled to have day to day, and they don't mind or they don't realize that they're actually paying a convenience fee every time they're using this service or this application. Because if you think about it, especially with tools and appliances, these things are expensive. They then start to take up physical space. And if you're constantly working to afford the next new thing that's going to make your life more convenient and give you more of your time back, you're actually stuck in this never-ending cycle of forking your money over, aka your time and your energy, for this new appliance or gadget that's supposedly going to give you more time and energy back, but then you're caught up in trying to have the next new thing, the next great thing, and you're spending more of that time and energy working. Do we not see the problem here? Do we not see the never-ending cycle that we get ourselves stuck in? Maybe you're so excited by these things that they start to take up so much physical space that your storage room is full, and maybe you have a storage unit now that you also have to pay for, or maybe you even contemplate moving to a bigger apartment or a bigger house. Obviously, that's a more extreme case, but it happens especially when people's families are expanding and they don't realize how much stuff they're accumulating, and they think it's truly useful things that they should hang on to, and then it just continues to multiply, just continues to expand. I had a friend once who said that money just makes things easier. It doesn't make life a cakewalk necessarily. So of course you can pay people to do certain things or maybe afford certain things, but that doesn't mean your life is better. It just means it's easier. And that leads into my next point, where I believe convenience culture has taken our ability to problem solve, be creative, and face tough challenges and overcome them. I think people are really reliant on things not maybe being handed to them, but not being challenging or difficult because there's someone that can do that for me, or there's some tool out there that will do it for me, and I don't have to think about it. I don't have to solve that problem. It can be done for me. Obviously, on a grander scale, ChatGPT, AI is a really good/bad example of this. Like, it proves my point in the sense that people are willing to shut off their brain so an AI model can write them an email for them. Obviously, that is problematic. There are different ways to use AI as a tool to enhance your writing style or sharpen up your grammar maybe, but to hand over your critical thinking abilities to an AI bot is problematic in so many different ways that I don't have enough time to get into this video about. If you want me to make why AI is bad for the environment and maybe like humanity as a whole, let me know down below. I would love to do some research for that video and put that out for y'all if you're interested. This whole video is not about AI, but that was just a really good example of people handing over their grits to outsource it to someone else or something else. I always revert back to this, but genuinely, when we were cavemen, when we were literal Neanderthals, things were not easy for our ancestors whatsoever. They were hunting things on foot with handmade tools and making fire by hand and surviving. And do you think that was easy? No, of course not. But they got us here to this point thousands and thousands and thousands of years later. But we're just at this point where I truly feel like if people were in pressing hard situations, maybe this is me being pessimistic and I shouldn't really think like that, but that people would rather give up than dig deep and get the job done or help themselves out. I'm not really talking about systemic things like poverty. It's gotten to the point where humans have lost their craftiness. That's how I look at it. We used to be able to make dresses out of any fabric or any material. The Great Depression is a great example of this. People would turn their flour sacks into dresses because that's what they had and that's what they could use. It's not like they could go shopping and have the convenience of a mall down the street. I see that with a lot of other things too. Mugs, for example. Yeah, you could do pottery and make one, but a lot of people would rather go to TJ Maxx and get a $5 one. We're losing a lot of critical skills, not just in thinking, but also in terms of like what we can create with our own hands. And I think consumerism and convenience culture kind of tie in that way, in the sense that it's so convenient to go shop and outsource our creativity and buy things than it is to create them ourselves. It is a lot more difficult to learn a new skill and create something by hand than it is to go to the shops and buy it for a few dollars. But then also, we know how I feel about consumerism. If you don't pay a lot for it, you feel like it's a throwaway item, you use it once or twice, you throw it away, it ends up in a landfill, and it's that behavior times a billion, because there are a lot of other wealthy top 20% of global wealth that is contributing to that problem of being able to buy something, use it a few times, throw it out, and then globally we have a waste crisis. And you know what? It's because it's convenient, which is a shame. I feel like it should be a lot harder to like throw things away, to be honest with you. Or maybe harder to acquire them, or maybe it should be easier or more promoted to make things by hand. I don't really know what the solution is, but that's how I feel about it. All I'm saying here is that we've lost our grit, and I'd love to use this example of a vegetable garden. You know that you can go to the grocery store and get cucumbers maybe at a decent price. You're still paying for them, they're still expensive in a manner, or you could plant a vegetable garden. Now, is that vegetable garden going to grow on its own? Absolutely not. It's going to take some hard work to get it set up, to plant it, and then some tender care afterwards to make sure that it's thriving and fulfilling. So not only do you have your own cucumbers, but you also have a fulfilling and nurturing hobby. You wouldn't have that if you just went and bought the cucumbers from the grocery store. Is it a lot harder to do the vegetable garden? Of course. But is it more fulfilling? 1,000 times more fulfilling. Yes. People are lacking the creativity and hobbies that maybe they used to back in the day when not everything could be bought on Amazon with next day shipping. We forget that it's really good for your self-esteem to do difficult things, that we have grit, that we are able to do difficult things. I'm not saying life isn't hard enough, because trust me, it is. But if there's something you really set your mind to, I'm sure you could do it, but it takes that determination to get through it, and possibly even a band of like-minded people. Maybe it's political change, maybe it's a community garden, maybe it's a community cleanup day. Lots of things that people can put their mind to. But what I'm saying is that you can do it if you really try. And you don't outsource it for the sake of convenience. So besides convenience culture kind of selling out humanity, selling out our creativity, making us wimpy babies in a way, I don't know, sometimes I feel that way. When people like want like luxury all the time or feel entitled to convenience, I'm like, sometimes I just think people are babies. That might be harsh, but I did touch on it a little bit earlier in terms of it's convenient for you to buy something, and then just as convenient, if not more, to throw it away, versus being able to craft and make something yourself. Do I think we're able to craft everything on our own and DIY everything on our own? Of course not. You're gonna have to buy a house or pay someone to build it. You can't just like, I'm gonna DIY my house. Like, actually don't do that. I know the housing market is tough, but it can't be that tough. You have to think about these new normals that are based on convenience, that are actually very damaging to the environment. Let's start small and then work our way up a little bit bigger. First things first, to-go cups, to-go materials for any sort of like fast food restaurants or to-go restaurants or cafes. You have all of these cups and straws and lids and forks and knives and plastic wrappings and napkins that all eventually end up in a landfill because they're for single use. It's for the sake of convenience, for not having to return the cutlery or the plate or the cup. It just makes it easier for you to grab and go. It's all convenient. Then we have something that is now enshrined into our online shopping experience, which is same day or next day delivery, which is incredibly alarming, because what do you mean that I can order something and it arrives to my house at 5 p.m. that night? That is crazy talk, and that is something that is very new but has now become such a norm to stay competitive in this day and age. It's so damaging because it makes people less mindful when they're shopping because it gets to them that same exact day. There's so much packaging that goes into these products, and then the transportation of it all, from the warehouse, putting it on a truck or even a plane to get to your distribution center to then truck out to you, because most of these things are still based in fossil fuels rather than electric vehicles or electric transportation. And that's a great segue into my next point, which is that cars are a major convenience that are now baked into the identity of being American. You can come and go when you please, you can curate the vibe, you can determine how many stops you make or how many you don't make, if you're gonna get food, when you want to get gas, your temperature settings, your seat settings. It's all to make you comfortable, and it's all easy and it's all convenient. We are all aware that fossil fuels are the main contributor to the greenhouse effect, the climate crisis, global warming, whatever you want to call it, those all apply. It's all for the entitlement of people to have things their way and make it what is easiest for them. Now, I'm not going to say that every person who drives a car is awful and evil. That's not the case at all. It's just the system that we've been handed has zero infrastructure for public transport. That's an exaggeration. Okay, I know it's not zero. Almost forces and pushes you into having a car. The city I grew up outside of, New Orleans, does have public transit, but no one is taking it because to get a few miles down the road, it will take you an hour. So of course I can understand people needing their own mode of transportation. It all stems from this individualistic, convenient for me, not thinking of the collective sort of standpoint. We also have to think that the rise of vehicles and automobiles was pushed during the rise of consumerism. It was part of the American dream to have your own car and your own home. Well, nowadays, your car might be your home. Bleak. Okay, sorry. And to even get a little bit deeper, I know plenty of people that have abandoned their civic duty of voting because it's not easy for them, because it's not on the way to work, or they don't get out of work, or they'd have to plan their day around it, and they just don't feel like that. And in real time, we have seen the erosion of our democratic systems, and it's because we have this mentality of things should be easy for me. Now, don't get me wrong, there are certain things in life where if you're meeting resistance and a lot of friction, it should be easier than that. And those are things like your career or relationships or friendships. If those things are very difficult for you and there's a lot of friction, of course, that's different. But if you're saying like my house should be spotless and clean and I'm gonna hire a subscription service to do that because I just need that convenience, that's your own choice and your own making, but that doesn't need to be the way that it's done. And if you were without that subscription service, you outsourced your capabilities of having a clean and happy and tidy home, I don't know. It's just some food for thought. Those are my little musings for today. I just feel like convenience is something that is so embedded, especially in American culture, and it's why Europeans make fun of us for being incredibly overweight. We don't walk and we eat fast food because it's easier for us. Like, that's what's mind-blowing to me, is like, things worth having take hard work, and things that come to you easy aren't worth having. And that's just, I feel like that's a mantra that I've lived a lot of my life by, and I know once I set my mind to something, I need to dig my heels in and be determined to do it, because if I want it, if it's something that is worth having to me, it's gonna take hard work. Let me know your thoughts down below on convenience culture in the comments, and if you have any other insight you'd like to add. I think it's definitely an interesting topic that we're kind of feeling now, and it's definitely like this post-COVID era where things are like online, they're easier to access. Is it the best thing for us? I don't extremely think so, but of course that's just my opinion, and I'd love to know what you think. I'm gonna catch you guys in next Sunday's video. Until then, don't forget to be kind to yourself, others, and the planet. Bye.